Good morning. All right, so we talked about momentum yesterday, and I showed you a couple of charts where momentum was the early warning sign of some consolidation, pullback, corrective price action. And these charts that we look at, they tell us what other people are thinking. Are they in an uptrend or in a downtrend? Are they a sideways trend? Are the bars overlapping? Are there a lot of tails? And so when we look at that, we say, okay, something's going down. That's bearish. And it's in a downtrend. They're up and it's bullish. But how is it going up or how is it going down? So prior to the last week or so, we would say it was going up on the daily time frame, but in a very erratic way, displaying uncertainty of, well, I know it's going up, but I'm scared to death and I'm not sure if it'll keep going up. And that was this mess that was going on here and to some extent here. And then we had that nasty down day intraday, which was like a power downtrend intraday. And then some more uncertainty of holding the support. And now the momentum is picked up. And momentum has even picked up to where, looking at this chart, we get a bit of a range expansion candle. So I don't know that I would totally call it a wide range bar compared to like these bottoming tail range expansion wide range bars. But compared to the preceding 3 days, I would say it's a little bit of a range expansion. So traders got a little excited yesterday. And so while the momentum is picking up as it approaches resistance, I would say, why are they getting excited as it's approaching resistance where there's going to be more sellers? It's just the way it is. As prices continue in one direction, more and more, I should not really say traders. And I guess that's a very broad term. That could include hedge funds, prop traders, institutions. It doesn't matter. Human beings get excited. And when they get excited and their confidence grows, they begin to become less cautious. And when that is the case, range begins to expand after prices are going up for a while. So it's an early warning. It doesn't mean prices are going to collapse. It just means, hey, they're getting excited. I better maybe get a little less excited. And it's good what Robert says. When emotions run high, logic runs low. That's a good one. Yes, absolutely. So our factory work says, okay, they're excited. There was a range expansion bar, which begins to create what we call a price void in the intraday time frame. There's a daily time frame. So range expansion bars on daily time frames create voids in intraday time frames, which at that point opens up the door to retracement. So part of our analysis is then to assess what happens at that point. We've got an early little caution sign there, the range expansion bar. So looking at the 15-minute chart, over here you can see the move up that occurred around lunchtime, right, into the close. And then overnight, as it pulled back into the void, it's like, okay, this has the potential to go all the way back down. That's what happens sometimes because that strength has to be followed up with more strength and more demand, which requires building a new area of support, not going all the way back down because there's no support below. And that's what was going on here overnight and in the morning as it begins to pivot. You can see PL begins to pivot. It begins to create new support. And so while that's happening, it's creating new resistance above too. That's why we're getting this red bar where the lines are now being drawn of overhead resistance and support below. Which way is it going to go? Well, we just sit back and wait and see. So on the jobs news, because it spiked up, it came down. Overall, it's just in the same place here. So chopping around. So SPX, today's Friday. And so we think SPX trades. And so I think the safest bet would be above 3,400. You know, that's a bit of ways, 40 points or so, a little more. So the point is, okay, I believe, well, that's not a fact, that's a belief, that that would be a safe place above 3,400 to sell a bear call spread above that high. Since there's been a range expansion that was preceded by momentum moving up, see the gap up, the stall, the gap up, the move, yesterday's range expansion. I think above 3,400, if there's premium there, Clint is telling me there's juice at 33.75, which I think might be a little bit too close for my comfort. Anyway, not without some kind of a failure pattern. So we'll see what happens. And on the downside, I think, well, at a minimum, you got to go below yesterday's low. You do have an unfilled gap here. So we're always looking at, okay, what is the probability here based on the pattern of continuing the move up or moving down or stall? I think a stall is a good probability. We've seen that prices are chopping around here pre-market, so we'll see at the open whether they attempt to continue the push higher. But obviously, as I mentioned, well, we can go to spiders here. We've got some overhead resistance that's been created up here. So we can kind of look at that and assess it to where the SPX is, what would have happened. And so this area will be used as a reference point. So you can see here that when it spiked up there, it came flying right back to the downside. So that tells us that sellers are lurking up above already. It doesn't mean they'll collapse this, but it does make sense. I mean, we look to the left, we see that spiders are into the unfilled gap here near the prior high. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see it make a new all-time high. CNBC can put on their party hats, so on and so forth. So we got a little bit of clues of sellers taking advantage of a move up here this morning. So 33.75. Go back and look at that. Could be okay. Could be okay. We'll see. We'll see at the open what kind of jiggles there happen. You know, we give it 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. And of course, like down below, wherever the premium is. So we look at the trade table and say, well, how low can we go? And it makes sense that putting on a put spread, and where is that in relation to the chart? And we have our SPX traders in the room. I don't know if they've looked at that. The downside. Well, they'll let me know. I haven't looked yet. So that's the process. So where are the other markets? So the Qs, I think these are the futures, range expansion bar, but it's stalled. And then the range expansion bar, nevertheless, range expansion bar daily chart, void intraday chart, process. See if it can build support without collapsing. So resistance that's creating here, support is creating here, little minor trading range. Stay out of the way. Choppy for now. YM. And brought up the rear, cleared the prior high. 45 cents, 32.85, 65, 45 cents, 32.85. I think 32.85 should be okay, McGraw. Right? You know me, I'd rather take less and be a little more confident of the level. So Dow is stalled here. No big deal. Good morning there, YouTubers. It's stalled here, no big deal. It took out the high. So MTS, Master Trader Technical Strategies, has multiple concepts. One of them is called greater than 100% retracement. And what that means is that historically, when prices make a greater than 100% retracement, where they've moved down and move all the way back up to take out the prior high, probability is that momentum is going to stall. Now, another concept is to look to the left, and we see, well, it's coming into an area of resistance. So that increases the probability of a stall here, right? And a slowing in momentum. Doesn't mean it's going to collapse, right? There are other things to consider before we would start thinking that, especially even just getting a complete reversal bar, which we don't have yet. This could certainly turn into a green bar and push up a bit higher. So we'll see. But right now, sellers are taking control a bit and looking to, how they're pushing into that prior range. Same story. There's the move up, right, yesterday. And it's actually holding up okay. I like the looks of this consolidation a little better than the others. That could potentially go higher. The Russell, which just couldn't get out of its own way yesterday. Even at the end of the day, it started to act like it was going to bring up the rear, and it just couldn't do it. It just kind of stood there. But the weekly chart looks pretty darn good. We'll see where it ends here today. But again, this is the idea of catch-up, bringing up the rear, sector rotation, the weaker money going into the weaker ones, and those playing catch-up. That's the idea. Some people call it sector rotation. I'm just looking at what hasn't performed and what should begin to perform, and we see that going on in the junkie transport, right, index. Airlines look like they're bottoming. A lot of speculation, coronavirus, mayhem, hysteria being closer to an end here. And so people start getting out there and living again and getting on a plane maybe with, scared to death, those that are. Anyway, you see that this has been improving. It consolidated at resistance. It's got room to go up. So transports, Russell, maybe some Dow stocks, where technology kind of doesn't collapse, but, just kind of hangs out there a little bit or participates to a lesser degree. Right. If I pay attention to SPX for sure as an indication of what it has a strong position. I'm not sure, photo guy, of your question there. The position is that. Oh, you're talking to someone else there. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's continue to turn it over to Dan. So Russell play catch up, transports play catch up. Whatever's been underperforming, playing some catch up. And bonds just stalled there. You see the last week stalled at the resistance to the left, but holding up there so far. Oil just had that whipsaw to the downside and came right back up, and it stalled. So just kind of been dead for a couple of months now, going sideways. Really choppy price action. Gold down here a little bit, but beautiful advance. It was choppy there for a while. We spoke about the longer term time frames and how they suggested the prices should go up. And so now we got a little bit of a slowing in momentum beginning to happen here. You indicator junkies are probably saying, "Oh, how the hell does he know that? He's got no indicators." Right? So here's where it started the move. And then we just look at the first reversal. And then we look at the next move and the next reversal. Again, this bar is not done, but the distance between them has become shorter. Meaning this has moved less than this move, and then got a red bar. So those, whatever your favorite oscillator is that's misleading you, and if it doesn't match up with a bearish divergence, of course, you can change the settings and continue to confuse yourself further. But in any event, gold is beginning to stall here in its momentum. It doesn't mean the trend is over. It just means it's gotten to the point where it's moved pretty far in a relatively shorter period of time, and maybe it needs to rest a little bit. And silver, we can't forget about silver. Similar situation, stalled, getting kind of whippy here. So slowing momentum, whippiness, they communicate that uncertainty about the trend continuing. And yesterday I said, look for 30 bucks. It's likely to hit up there. And then you're going to see the sellers come in. It was just an obvious place, nothing magical, just a round number. It's in an uptrend, range expansion. Sellers are going to be there. Pretty much works like clockwork. And so now probably we'll see these chop around a bit and consolidate their gains. So there you have it. Hope everybody, well, those of us in the green room, we will have all day to see how this transpires and converse. Those of you in YouTube, I'll let Dan take over, and you guys have a great weekend.
All right, good morning. Yep, 0 DTE day, so we like that. All right, I just posted our IAG. We stopped out at a nice profit yesterday. That was a gold stock. Our opens here, the only problem I see is this Teradyne. We bought the breakout yesterday, and it was a, you know, we do objective trade review. It was a beautiful breakout, closed with a tie. So, you know, I said it shouldn't have done that. So when on this bounce, we legged into a covered call. So we sold a covered call for next week for $2.30. That lowered our cost basis. So that was a great move. But now we're dealing with some morning weakness. So we're going to move the stop to the 30-minute low. YouTube's asking about buy the dip on Boeing. If we get a setup, sure. Yeah, this was on our watch list the other day on this reversal. And we were talking about this in detail in the green room, along with some of the cruise ships and airlines, you know, these beat up sectors. Somebody was saying, hey, is this the all-time low? I'm like, I have no idea. But it's in a downtrend and it's a bullish engulfing. But we had a long discussion of, based on, you know, the bullish move off the low and possible breakdown failure on the weekly, could it be the start of a bottoming process? And I said, absolutely, yes, it could be. But there's no pattern. I can't put a name on a bullish pattern right now to say, yep, buy this as a core trade. But as Greg said, the airlines and Boeing, yeah, we'll keep an eye on them. AAOI, yeah, that was a core watch of mine. You guys know on the monthly chart. I like this monthly. It's a W bottom with a new low plus and a price void. So yeah, let's definitely watch that. I put spiders up there. I'll put AAOI on a different screen. I've been watching it for a while. Hey, Greg, you're Rocket Man. Rocket Man's moving up pre-market. Nice. That was a beautiful 15-minute right there. JD gapping down, and Trump signed some executive order. I don't know what it is, but doing something going after these Chinese companies. So let's look at that sector. You know, the usual suspects. Baba, Baidu. Right, they were bullish charts. That's actually a bullish 1, 2, 3 right there on Baidu. Wow. Yeah, we'll come back, take a look. Jets. Yeah, Jets actually looks better than Boeing. It got deeper into resistance. So yeah, let's definitely scan that sector again today. Qualcomm gap short. Yeah, it's extended. You can short a 10-minute low. markets, you know, they were gapping down here. They rallied on the 830 number. Now they're back here. I'm not, they're a mess. I'm not going to be doing anything here aggressive out of the open. A bid, nice gap, oh, that's huge. Gapping way the heck up here, 312. That's a big gap. CNDT, 394. It's another big gap. I mean, just, you know, I tell people you can put tape over these numbers. Well, don't do that because you'll mess up your screen, but ignore them. Look, I don't care if this is 2 cents or $200. If you got a gap from here all the way over all of these candlesticks and off my chart, it's off my chart on the daily, that's extended. Now you might say, well, it's not that extended on the monthly as a core like AAOI. And if so, then I say, then I agree. You got to watch it for an entry on a pullback. I actually had one of those yesterday. Remember I said, I forget the symbol. It's in here somewhere. We'll find it later. Where I said, hey, let's watch this over the next 3, 4, 5, 7 days for a setup. Zillow, 81 bucks. Jake, I don't know what you, I don't, it's a big gap. And it's neutral. It's neutral pre-market, so it's not a tier 1 to me. But if you want to follow it, just put it in a 5-minute window and watch it. 984, another big gap. This looks like a penny stock toy. You're gone. Garmin, a 1, 2, 3. Let's watch that. Netflix also over the highs, and I like the fact that it's gapping down. So if this can move up, so these are 2 swing long candidates if the market's in a good mood. We had a nice trade on Facebook yesterday. Buy set up here to support after gapping all-time highs. Reversal, bullish 15, bullish weekly. It was just perfect multiple time frame alignment. Hey, Luis, if you can put your drop down to all panelists and attendees, what time are we Lewis says, what time are we going to start trading options? You're funny. You know why that's a funny question to me? Number 1, the market has to open up. So that's answer number 1. Number 2, we will be trading stocks and options on whatever sets up whenever they set up. So that might happen at 9:35, 9:40, 10 a.m. But you're here in the room, Luis. So trust me, you will be here to see us in action like we do every day. Hey, McGraw, you know your friends over at Tasty Trade? I get their morning, you know, whatever it's called, cherry bomb. And I just shook my head at looking at the one today. I mean, anybody who knows us, Master Trader, and our technical approach to trading stocks and options, would you sell a 35-day put spread on this? Yes or no? I'm gonna have to do a chart lesson on that. It's just, come on, man, it's just ridiculous. And they say that nobody can read charts. Look, yeah, I would do it for 0 DTE. Bossum, your drop down. I would do it 0 DTE over the high. Sure. It's still strong and it hasn't reversed. I give you that. But it's extended. Your ideal entries were this little 1, 2, 3, this wide range igniting, even this gap breakout to all-time highs on earnings. Not now. It is a nice gap breakout, Jason. I just personally don't like the way it trades on the daily. Enlock, yeah, we used to trade him, I remember. 2311. I just don't like the fact that it's far from the 20 now and near that prior high. This one, it's worth watching. It's a bullish daily weekly. I'll put it in my watch list, but I got to see how it sets up. No, Ahmad, they were doing 81.79 for 35 days. All right, let's continue. SIBO is on my short watch list. That's in a steady downtrend. Look at all these topping tails. Those are sellers. I mean, look at the moving averages on the daily and weekly. Looks horrible. CME, his cousin, is holding stronger, but if it cracks under last week's low, then it should go. Florida, a subscriber emailed this to me. Yeah, under yesterday's low. It's a bear 1, 2, 3, 4. Tile gapping up to $9. It has room. That's worth watching. Rand, there's no volume in your garbage par. There's no volume. I can't tell where you're gapping. But it was nice, nice breakout this week. OPY, that's a sell setup. Can't tell where you're gapping. Greg, yeah, Boston's asking about the internals. So we all know already that the sentiment is in nosebleed territory. The put call is too bullish. Breadth got bigger yesterday, Boston.
Actually, it's flat.
What?
Breadth was like near zero yesterday, so it really didn't move.
Right. That's I'm just visualizing the line. Okay, all right. Yeah, I said it improved, so that part was wrong. All right, so breadth is still neutral. I don't like the way this trades and can't tell where you're gapping anyway. Yeah, trip here, I'm getting to it. I got it right up here. Trip, top and tail, it gapped up and it's getting slammed into the gap fill. So I don't know yet. We'll come back to you. TTD 498, bullish gap, but it's not tier one. I'm going to see what it does in the first half hour. Wow, Uber ran into earnings. Look at that. Wow. Now it's gapping down, bearish gap. This is a call spread candidate, McFly. That's a nice call spread candidate. A bearish gap at resistance. There was an article in the journal today about Uber saying, oh, our ridership is down. Well, hello, McFly. What do you think? It's going to increase during a recession and coronavirus and people not working and afraid to go to restaurants? McFly. Yelp. Bearish gap, but on support, so no pattern. Zulu. Bullish gap, but it's big. We'll come back to you. I don't like the way you trade. Cuckoo, Circus. It's worth watching. I love this 180 reversal. 25. This is kind of not textbook because the range is too wide, but it has the flavor of a bull flag with a very thick flag. It's at the top of the range on the monthly. But yeah, I'll leave it there. We'll come back to it. Kim, I know is real estate. Nothing to do there. Noble, nothing. Par. We'll come back. So where was I? Trip, TMUS. TMUS we already looked at. SP, no pattern. Rebel, no pattern. Some trading range. Oh, Riot, remember? Riot blockchain. Hey, I didn't see that. It trades very chaotically, but I like the weekly. Let's keep an eye on that one. OLED bearish gap down, but it's sure rocking off the pre-market low. Maybe it'll turn into one of those bear gap that bullies. Nictar, I got nothing for you. Mankind, bearish gap yesterday. Wow, that's a breakout failure. Mealy, that's what I tell McGraw is a churning uptrend.